All right. All right. Welcome back. Pro Dumpster back at it again. So, what we're going to do today is we have to strain off the gold and the acid from this white container, and we're going to put it into these black buckets that we usually do. We have the gold container here. So, what we actually need to do is to make this a lot easier for ourselves. We're going to pour the contents of the white container into the gray container, and then what we're going to do is filter out the acid from that as best as we can, and then we're going to actually end up pouring it into the black containers. Okay, so we're going to start now. Okay, as we see, we have a lot of SD chips still inside of that container, and what we do have is that we have an actual line of gold here. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to get as much acid out of this as possible while leaving less acid for the SD chip. So, how do you actually do that? Is that easy to do? No, it isn't, to be honest. It's not easy because we're going to have to pour that off. So, what we're going to do is we can actually use strainers on that. All right. Now, how do we do this? Well, it's actually going to be pretty interesting. We're actually not going to use filters. We're going to use strainers, and I'm going to use this bucket to make it as easy as possible right now to show you how to do that. Now let me get a clean one here. I'm going to use this. Okay. We're going to use this bucket, and we're going to use this bucket with a filter. And then we're going to strain our gray bucket here into this. And that's going to keep the SD cards in here while the liquid goes down. Okay. Now, the good part is I'm going to pick something like this, but I want to make sure the SD cards can't go through it. And the reason why is I don't want the fact that it may get through. So I'm actually going to take a filter and I'm going to measure the SD cards here. And if it goes through, I'm not going to use it. I just want the liquid. You see how I'm checking? All right, the liquid will go through there. The SD cards will go through that. Okay. And so we have this here. We're going to pour our mix from here into this just to get the liquid out. Okay, that's all we're going to end up doing right now. All right, that's what we need. All right, we want all the liquid out as much as possible. If a few go in the strainer, that's fine. We need all the liquid as best as we can get it. I just don't want it getting into the black container. Okay? That's what we want. Okay? All right, good. That's done. So, you see what we did? What we did is we filtered all of that out, and now we have the liquid in here. Now that we have the liquid, we're going to put the strainers on with the filters, okay, to do that. All right? Okay. Okay, all right. Good, 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 good. Very good. So what I'm going to do is just shake this a bit. Get that extra amount out. Okay. And then I'm going to put this right back into the white container, just like that. Okay. Just like that. Okay. Now, there might still be a little bit of gold in there, but we can always shake that off with water after we put that to the side. Okay. So inside of here, we just have our SD cards here, and we just have our SD cards in there. Now, let's say there's a little bit of liquid, right? I have to be careful draining that off if I mix it with water beforehand, not after. So remember, I just strained this off here. So what are we going to do? Do you know what we're going to do? We're going to drain this again. That's right. We're going to take this and pour this in here to get as much liquid out of it as possible. Okay, I want to make sure that's set up correctly. So we're going to strain that again after we just use the first filter to see if we can get a little bit more liquid out of it right now. Okay. And you can hear the liquid coming down. Now I'm going to stop. Okay. Why am I stopping? Because there's so many SD cards in there, it's about to overflow. I don't want them to overflow and go into the liquid, because when I put that into the filters, I don't want it to puncture the filter itself. Okay, what am I going to do now? I'm going to shake this off. Okay, and then I'm going to put this into the white bucket. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then what am I going to do? I'm going to come back and I'm going to pour it again. Now, we don't have a lot of liquid in here, but I need to get out as much as I can. All that liquid in there is gone. And the only thing I have left inside of this container is just going to be SD chips. Okay? Very simple. So after we've done that, we're going to take this. We're going to strain all of that. Okay? And then we're going to pour that here. Okay? Beautiful. All right. Now that we have these guys here, perfect. Okay? We've separated everything. We have that. And what we're going to do is now we're going to strain the liquid that's in here. Okay? Let me brush my hands on this here. All right, perfect. We're ready to go. All right, so what do we have to do? Do you guys know what we have to do now? We have to set up our 2 containers to get strained. We have our new coffee filters here. I'm going to move you guys to the side so you can actually see how we're going to do this. And I'm going to move the camera angle up to make it easier for you. Okay, perfect. Okay. And now that we have that, we're going to put our filters on. Okay? So watch what we do next. Take 1. And we got 2. I'm going to take another one here. 2. I'm going to take another one here. And that might actually be, oh wait, we got a purple. I actually do have a purple one here. Perfect. Okay. All right. And that's what we got. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we got to put our filters in it. Okay. Those are the strainers. All right. Next is going to be our filters. We got brand new filters here from the thrift store, which will work perfect for us. Okay, and many of you are like, why do you go to the thrift store? Thrift store has things that are a lot cheaper and a lot easier for you to get. Okay, so we have our coffee filters here. Now these ones actually a lot smaller, which is pretty good because I don't have to worry about that. Now when filtering this out, I want to use at least 6 to 7 filters, as this comes from the muriatic acid. And the good part is I actually might not need these little red bowls in here, but this keeps everything centered and clear for me to actually use. Okay, it just keeps things in the middle right now, And I like that because that's what I want to definitely do. Get another one here. All right, perfect. Get another one here. Okay. And then have that here. Perfect. I don't want to go too thick with them, but at the same time, I do want to make sure it's enough to strain out all the gold off of this, because if we don't, it's going to go into a different project and we're going to get the wrong chemicals. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is we have our measuring cup. We're going to go into the first container, and let me actually do this for you guys here. Okay. I'm going to put this here. So we have that. I'm going to put this here so you can see it. Actually, let me make it easier for you. You guys are like, are you going bald? Possibly. Some lady actually ended up saying that I have a bald spot on the back of my head, so I need to watch out for that. Okay, perfect. And this is going to be here so you can actually see that I'm going to begin taking from the liquid and I'm going to end up pouring it in, and we're going to see what comes out. Okay, so I'm going to let this video run for as long as we can pour the acid in. So we're going to be very quick with this right now. Ready? Let's see how long it takes. Okay, that's one container. That's two. And that's four. I'm going to pour it in to get all the gold out that I can. Okay, and that's what we got so far. So what we have is we have our filters with our strainers, and we're filtering out the gold. Now you can actually see some of the gold on top, which is pretty good, but you can also hear it dropping if I'm quiet enough. And you let that go. You let that out and you're good to go. Now, what are we going to end up doing? Actually, since that's pouring out and I'm going to give it time, I'm never going to rush it. What are we going to end up doing with these? Okay. Well, with these here, what we're actually going to do is I'm going to put the gray bucket with the white bucket. And what we're going to do is we're going to pour our blue. Actually, we can do that right now. Yeah, we can do that right now. Okay. So here is our white bucket. If you could actually see that. This is the white bucket that we use. This is our blue water. Okay. Our blue water I always cover. That's what we use for gold scrapper. So, okay. And when it evaporates, I add more. We're going to pour our blue water in here, and we're going to let that bad boy sit in there, and we're going to stir it around a bit. And the good part is we can actually here's the crazy part. We can put all the SD chips back in here with blue water, and then come the next week, take them out and stir them around. Okay, we can do that. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Okay. We're going to take out as many SD cards as we can. We do have a little bit of gold in there. And what we're going to do... I have my filter on the floor. I don't want you getting gold on you. Okay. All right. We're going to take a little double check over here. Filtering out perfect. We have a lot of gold around the rims, which is exactly what we want. That's taking a longer time right now. Don't know why. Okay. And always, I can always add a second, third, and fourth, and fifth bucket right now to filter those out. Okay, we're going to take our SD chips. We're going to put them in here. Now, I do want to stir them around, so it's going to be very good with that. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to pour some blue water into this right here. Okay, not all of it, just some. Okay, now the good part is I did that for a very special reason. I want you to look, look. You see all that gold moving around? That's what we want. That is exactly what we want. Okay, now, damn, I gotta get that shit. Okay, so all that gold that's moving around right now is absolutely what I want. Okay, that's what we want. We need to filter all of that out. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna stir it around. Okay, and the good part is I have those SD chips hitting each other. Okay, perfect. The gold is coming off of it. See, that's what we want. We want all that gold. Look at all that gold flying around in there right now. That's what we want. I want all the, I got to knock these SD pieces down off the corners of them because I want them to get in there. Okay? We're going to knock these bad boys around. Okay? And in doing so, they hit each other and they do that. Now, I got to get the gold out of this container as well. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to pour a little bit of blue water into this container here. Okay, not all of it. You don't have to pour all of it, okay? And what I'm going to do is we're going to move it around, okay? And this is why you wear gloves, because I need to get all of these SD shit pieces in here as best as possible. It's not easy, but I need that in there, and I need those. They're always hanging on the edge because they're plastic, okay? And that's what we want. We want all of these pieces here, okay? And we're going to take that since we have them, and we're going to pour them into the water, okay? And so now what we're going to have is we're going to have a clear piece. Now, all of these black pieces in here is when the acid ended up getting in contact with the black pieces we have in there, okay? Now, the camera can kind of show it. You might have to zoom in. But below the surface, you have the SD chips. And on top of the surface here, you have the SD cards. Okay? This is perfect. This is what we want. Okay? You want to be able to stir these around. Beautiful. That's what we want. We want to stir these around here. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a few up with gloves and I'm going to look at it and see, yeah, a lot of the gold is coming off. And that's what we want. Now, I could strain these out today, to be honest. However, I don't want to do that because that may be unwise. I'm going to take a look over here and see what we got. Okay, we got a lot of the gold being filtered out. This is good. Okay, this is going to take, it's not going to take 10 minutes. The filters I used might have actually been pretty thick. So they might actually be acting like 15 filters, which is going to take a lot longer to get out. But what that means is that we're getting all the gold up, which is pretty good. Okay, now if you look here, you can kind of see all those little dots on the surface. That's the gold settling down. Now that's very good, because if I took a measuring cup in there, I'd be able to actually get the gold that's in there. This is good. Actually, we can filter these out today. A lot of the gold is already coming off of them right now. So today we're going to filter out these SD chips. I'm going to stir them around for another 10 minutes and then we're going to do that. All right, I'm not going to keep this video going at all. I'm going to stir those around for 10 minutes. I have my stick. I could actually pour them into the white bucket and give them another pour. Oh, look at what we got. Look at that. We got a lot of gold. All right, people, that's what we're doing. All right, I'm going to let you go. I will make a video on what we get when we have I'll do a video for the gold that comes out of these in total, and then I'll do a video of what happens when we get all of them out of the white. I think the white bucket that has the water in it will have the most gold in it actually right now. All right, Pro Dumpster Diver out. Longest video.